Good afternoon and welcome from my end and on behalf of the IMGL.
To stay within industry terminology, it is absolutely full house today.
Why is the Netherlands one of the last countries in Europe to legalize online gambling? Then the law enforcement, which will obviously be an issue. Let me be very clear about the gaming authority. We will give them the powers they need. So we have a good track record when it comes to law enforcement. And everybody who wants to challenge that, I say, see you in court. Now, I heard the wish to do this faster than after 3 years, but 3 years is already very quickly in the Netherlands when it comes to evaluation terms, and I think you know that probably. I say, of course, the sooner the better, because I wanted to introduce a low tax rate from the beginning. But of course, as far as there is a relation between taxation and the level of people who choose for the legal option, we will lower the tax as soon as possible. Still in place today, and this coalition agreement, I didn't mention it in the presentation, stipulates that there will be a single tax rate of 29%. As a liberal, I think taxes should be low, they should be simple, and they should be clear to everybody. But there is one concern though, and this regards publicity, and these voices, they suggest to limit and ban publicity, commercials for gambling. If you would do this in a legally sustainable way, then you have to do it for the entire gambling market, including the lotteries.
Is it an option to launch a three-stage rocket? Like 29, 25, 20 after 5 years, for example? Because we're talking about a lower taxation rate, but in the end, it's still not as low as in other European countries, which is usually between 15 and 20%.
I'm sorry, the rocket has already been assembled by the coalition parties.
How do you think you can protect the national pride, it being the lotteries and the role for charities in the new regulation?
Maybe it's possible to generate even more money for good causes.
Many factors decide the attractiveness, but I've been told that the payout ratio may be the most important factor. I think that 2 years will be enough to evaluate whether the channelization is good enough. And if it's not good enough, please lower it as quickly as possible. Maybe I will ask both questions by the example of the Spanish regulator. They say it's not sustainable to put that much effort in enforcement, and I agree with that. Enforcement, ladies and gentlemen, is very expensive.
I think we should take away we should use the way that people look at the lotteries, because I think it's very good and they do a lot of good. They give a lot to charity, they pay tax as well. But then we should use the other parties like PokerStars, Unibet, all the other parties that are here as well today, to make sure that this channelization works and that we can invest in sports. I think it's very brave after the last weeks that Jeroen is going to speak here and explain why it was good of me to vote VVD. It's very important that there's a site where you can find your deposit the next time you go online, if you haven't gambled it off. But that's very important. Obviously, it's important to have good payout ratios. Otherwise, I think definitely in Holland, we're pretty cheap, as you all might know. So for the future especially, I think that the consumer is going to be smarter and smarter. And they're going to find other ways to go to the illegal sites if they have better offers. That's why I think it's very important that the regulation is good, clear, and not too expensive.
Essentially, we're trying to bring together key people within the industry, both domestic operators from the Netherlands, as well as international operators. So looking to make a market entry, government officials, politicians, basically everyone who has an interest in the Dutch market.
Well, IMGL is co-hosting this event today with Justin's firm, Kalff, Katz, Franssen. IMGL stands for International Masters of Gaming Law, so we are producing masterclasses and conferences a couple of times a year all around the world. I've been to more than a dozen different types of conferences last year, and I must say, if you allow me to say so, this event today here is high profile.
First and foremost, I want to say I think Jeroen van Wijngaarden is extremely brave to come here. Of course, you know, his amendment or the proposal for the amendment doesn't win him any popularity contest, to say the least. But he came here and he stood for his case. You know, as a lawyer, a case is never lost.
I learned obviously that the coalition agreement says 29% is fixed. And since it's fixed, we can't change it. It's surprising because if you see something's wrong, there was always an opportunity to consider changing something. I was impressed how well educated Maria Appelman is compared to many, many regulators in the world. She's not thinking about things how they could be. She knows how developments will be. So I think her knowledge regarding the gaming market and the trends of the gaming market, that's really impressive and massive. I wish we had some of these regulators in other jurisdictions as well.
She was rather critical of the proposal to come with a 29% tax rate. She is, I think she's right on that. She's highly critical if the market will be a success like that. And most importantly, she, at least that's the way I interpret it, is that she doesn't want to be an enforcement body. She definitely wants to be a regulatory body and tries to have a sound and workable market.
I will do the utmost to fight this illegal market, but I will do it in a short and massive way. But we will talk to the parties interested in the license beforehand to smoothen this path and to quicken this part. So I hope to do it quicker than 6 months, but I cannot promise you. And we are at the current stage that within the organization we are testing it already and improving that. But of course we need to improve it more and maybe adjust it where necessary because of secondary legislation. But we hope to start testing it with potential licensees at the end of this year.